All right, we're starting a new project. Today we're going to sow Vinca Mediterranean mix. Little bit different for us actually, because this is going to go outside. It's not going into the hydroponic system. It's going to go into the actual landscaping around the property. Got my rockwool cubes, vermiculite, and I'm gonna put the seeds in here because they're actually probably smaller, harder to see. This way I can work with them a little bit easier. One thing I'll show this later, but I'm using a 2-tray system. This is a solid tray on the bottom and a perforated tray on top. And again, that's so we can water from the bottom. These are what I use for microgreens as well. Just getting these open. There's only 100 seeds in here. These are cultivated by a company called Pan American Seed. It's sold throughout probably the world actually, through different distributors. These are tiny seeds. Actually, they're not as small as I thought they would be, but 100 is just not a lot. I think I have 77 to 78 rockwool cubes set up. What I'm gonna do is just go through these carefully, put 1 seed per cube, and then cover them with vermiculite. I may have to water these. I could do this by finger. Would be easier. Yeah, so I actually pulled up the growing sheet on this, and the growing sheet from Pan American Seed says to cover these. So 1 seed per cell, and then cover them. So I'm going to do that with the vermiculite. As we get into this, you'll see if you've seen my other videos, you know that I always profess you almost can't have too much water in the first 24 to 48 hours. So what we'll do is we'll completely soak them from the bottom. I'll spray them from the top. We're going to put the vermiculite on top of the seeds once it's completely soaked, and then we're going to spray more. And we do this because the vermiculite will absorb water and it will kind of steal it from the seed. Now the only issue here is, well, there's one issue is they only have an 85% germination rate. So we are going to get some blanks here. We'll have some extra seeds so we can re-sow some or fill in, but we are going to have some blanks. But being that this is only a 100 seed pack, I'm going to stick with 1 seed per cell. As you can see, we're cruising along here. We're on the last row here. So far, everything's cruising along. I do like putting these on the rockwool. They stand out great. So I can see, it's easy to see which cubes I've put a seed on and which ones haven't yet. That's kind of very handy. As I mentioned, we'll have some extra seeds here. All right, one did get away. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I think there it is. All right. So just a quick check. Every rockwool cube has a seed. All right, so we're good there. Put some water in here and get these guys covered. Take this out, pour this in. As I do this, these cubes are going to absorb the water. Going kind of slow. I don't want to have them start floating and get disrupted and flip over or anything. There we go. I will say it again and again, but you cannot have too much water in the first 24 to 48 hours. 24 to 36 for sure, 48 depends on the plant, but it's that point where some of these seedlings or seeds have harder shells than others, and they take a little longer to absorb water than others. And once they do absorb the water, you know, that metabolic process that takes place to shoot out the first radical and start growing, that also varies in terms of speed and timing. So you 24 to 36 hours, you cannot have too much water. I don't do this, I don't recommend it except for a few different plants, but some people soak their seeds. Not a huge fan of that. Really, that comes down to handling. This was all pretty easy to handle with the seeds dry. So I tilt it up a little bit, making sure we're getting water everywhere. Make sure those cubes get real saturated. And I will leave them sitting in the water for a little while, at least till tomorrow morning. I'm going to put these seeds away before I start spraying. Spraying is always a little messy. Hopefully this goes smooth too. So far things have gone very well. There we go. Put these away. Again, it's the Vinca Mediterranean mix. Growing these because they, again, the growing sheet on these says they spread, and I want them to be somewhat of a ground cover. In Florida, that's a perennial ground cover, so ideally we'll have nice blooms, well, year after year for sure, but I'm curious to see the growing season as well, how long they'll stay in bloom. All right, now that we've got the seeds soaked, I like to put the plastic cover here so I don't totally destroy the table. And you can see these guys are moving around a little, so as I spray them, oh, one just hopped to the cube next to it. All right, so now he's sticking there. Okay. To me, it's worth the time to get this phase right. If you get this phase right, you know, things just kind of flow from here. I'm a little surprised how easily they're bouncing. Maybe if I come a little tighter. Yeah, this is... You don't have to worry if it's centered or not in the cube, just as long as it's one seed per cube. As I say that, this guy shot over, and I don't like him that far over. You want them as centered as possible, but it's not, they're off a little bit, it's not a big deal. So that's pretty good for now. I'll fix this one. There. All right, now I'm going to cover them with the vermiculite. One thing I'm going to do is flip this over. A little bit of water got on there. This way when I do the vermiculite, it's not too bad. Won't stick to there. So the vermiculite, again, this is just real light. Be patient, go slow, get a nice even covering. You'll see it will absorb some of the water. And I'll let that happen, and then water it again. A piece of plastic from one of the growing cell holders. I assume they want the cover for a couple reasons. One is it will help retain moisture, and it will provide the seedlings as they shoot out support when they first start to emerge and grow. Helps them from just falling over. All right, that's a pretty good covering. You can see it changing colors. You can see where the water is. Vermiculite is absorbing the water and turning darker. We'll give that a few minutes. And then water it one more time. And then cover it and put it by the windowsill. All right, nice little spray here. And you can't have too much water, but you can disturb it, so you do want to be gentle. I'm going to pour the rest of this in here. Oh, that was stupid. That was stupid. I just broke my own rule. All right, so that was completely stupid. Don't do that. What I will do, so I know these now were disrupted. If I see two seedlings popping up here, and nothing here, I'll move them over later. But that was stupid. There you go. All right, we'll get a cover on this and move it to the windowsill. And check back on it tomorrow or the next day. All right, we have them set up. They're covered, fully watered. And sitting by the windowsill. And I like them near an open window so they get natural, somewhat filtered light without the heat. We'll check back on them tomorrow morning, or a couple days, and probably move on underneath the lights, the LEDs. So Vinca Mediterranean mix.